Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. We got definitely and surely a global community here. It's Friday, everybody. Jason, representing from Hong Kong across the globe. What's going on, Thomas? Everyone, glad to see you this morning. I'm excited that it's Friday. I'm excited for this session ahead of us. Not only for us to dig in over here and take a look at the markets, but kind of spend some more time as we are just now in a position where we are managing positions this morning. We got a little bit more time on our hands today, so I'm looking for that. So yeah, we're going to talk about that in a moment, but we are seeing this slow drift up out of the position that we were looking at last night. We'll take a look at it, take a look at where you might want to move your stop if you're in the trade, and where we might want to look to push the trade too. We'll take a look at it all. Good morning, Gabriel. Good morning, everyone over here. Ricardo, buenos dias. Yeah, so Stefan's pointing out something that's pretty important as we get started this morning, and he's pointing out the fact that we have 1.7, 1.8 trillion dollars in expirations happening today. Expect some volatility, but that could go to the upside or downside. We'll see what the market does with it. I don't think that's a market mover today. The market has been shaking off some pretty real things. And we saw today that it is actually risk on because China said that they're going to start more phase one agricultural purchases, but that's not happening. Nevertheless, the fact that they said it, that sent us risk off, sent the dollar down a little bit. We're going to take a look around. First, just want to give everyone a second this Friday morning to come on in so that we have the whole crew together. Australian dollar, Japanese yen also came out of a nice trade. Take a look at that together. All right. Young Feng Su, good morning. Does that go to move the market up? I don't, again, listen, I'm not paying attention. I'm aware that it's happening today. We're going to be able to just focus in on the charts over here and not get too, it's just a headline and it's happening today. It's a big number. Everyone's aware of it. Let's just stick down to the technicals, right? Yeah, it's a good place to be today, Michael, if you're not into the trade on the side. Let's start over here looking at the S&P 500. Let's come back down to a smaller time frame. Perhaps we'll start over here on maybe the 4-hour time frame. And, all those who were able to catch last night's session, last night's upload, and look at the S&P 500, we get a very clear look at this might be a bull flag that we were coming in of, and we were looking for the break up and the break above was then resistance at 31.26 over here. That did work out, and you could see that not only that, price is now coming into this next area of resistance. You have the trend line resistance and the horizontal resistance at 31.47. So that's looking pretty good. Now, because we're at the next resistance, it's a good time to move your stop loss now to break even. Did you get into that trade? Move your stop loss to break even right now. You have a free trade, giving it room here, at least I am, to push through. If we push through this area over here, all of a sudden we got a swing trade on our hands. I'll hold through the weekend, no problem. And I'm looking, for this area over here, right around 3,200 for price to come back into and test. And if it does, we'll continue to manage the trade because maybe we're going to break through to the upside. Either which way, free trade, closing the week after a good week, really good week out there. And this is a good way to end the week. Now, of course, we're expecting volatility today. Is it possible that we trade down and take out those? Of course, no problem if that happens. I'll stay neutral the rest of the day. All right. So I hope that helped some people last night. When we talked about what was going on, I saw that. I just felt that everyone. When I say everyone, I'm speaking loosely. I just felt that a lot of people were very bearish and I didn't really see it, right? We're trading towards the top of this pattern coming out of a bull flag. It looked pretty good. You can see the true trend remains in that upwards impulse. A lot of positives, right? And the icing on the cake was China verbally making nice with the US, even though we know that's not so much. Oh my goodness, Zachary, there's a link below. Oh, that's not Zachary. Zachary, there's a link below for my personal course and mentoring program. There's no question. There's no question. All you need to do is be here, present, watching these live streams. And it's going to make a difference in your trading. But Zachary, if you're serious and want to go ahead and really improve your results and start trading profitably, start working with me. Now, what are we looking at over here? This is the S&P. We're about 25 minutes into the market's open. We'll come back and watch it again. I'm not gonna I'm gonna step away now. No, it's a free trade and it looks good. And maybe going into the weekend we'll get caught off by surprise. Maybe we're gonna have a nice trend day. We'll see what happens. The dollar is under pressure today. But so I want to talk about this. Let's spend a few extra moments this morning, right here. Yeah, Mike, I'm long the S&P. Which video do you go over the use of the true trend? Cameron, if you go to the playlist on the channel, there's one on Forex, Introduction to Forex. There's a video on the true trend inside that playlist over there. Now, Tom, TradingView doesn't show automatically the 8-hour charts. You have to pay for the upgrade. You just go ahead down to time frame, you put down 8, you change the minutes to hours and add. It's that simple to add it, but it requires their upgrade to pro charts. Looking here at the dollar index, we were looking for yesterday a breakout to the upside of this head and shoulders pattern you could see over here, right? And once we broke above the trigger right over there, the resistance at 97.40, we were looking for a continuation, perhaps even a bigger one. What's going on now that we've pulled back into that trend line? Is this on the verge of possibly being rejected and breaking down? Get below 97.03? Yes. Then this was a rejection, and we have the possibility here of extending further down towards even perhaps perhaps 96, the lows down over here. That's entirely possible. But if you step back a second and you see where the price came into this resistance over here, where my mouse is at 97.61. Now I want to zoom out a second so you could see over here also at 97.61. That was also an area of note of resistance here and support here. It's a big level. No doubt. And let's draw that in over there. So we're going to talk about something that's a little bit subjective. I'm going to show you right now. And it's not, so people could say that TA is subjective because you could see that we hit this resistance over here. Whatever. It's just, I look at it as further clarity, not so much subjective. It's clear now that this is the resistance that we need to break out for that extended move. And it's also clear that while we are maintaining above this trend line and this support over here, we still maintain that little bit of positive bias over here on the DXY. We know where we're going to lose the trade, and that will be if we break below the 97 support. Until then, still looking for the dollar to be able to make it out of here. It needs to really clearly break above the 97.60 resistance now. That's the area in play and an area to watch for whether or not we're going to get an extension. A break below the support over here at 97, right? That takes us down initially towards the next support level of 96.70. And if it can't hold there, it's going down lower to 96. Yeah, Stefan, that's, hopefully that causes Zero Hedge to move over to something like Bitcoin. Hopefully that's what it causes them to do. Yeah. So I was listening to a video about what happens if Alphabet gets broken up, and they were talking about when AT&T was the Bells, and before it was broken up. And basically, the analyst, you know how I feel about stocks, was basically like, if I would have held on to my Bell stocks and all the companies they split into, I would have done really well since they were broken up. Could be the same thing for Alphabet. You know, should they come to a point in time where they are broken up by the government, probably a good idea to, you know, to be buying at that time, and then sitting on that for a while. Mark Mellon, I don't know what's going on over there. I'm seeing that you're responding to someone who's got something to say. Pay him no mind. We don't have time for that nonsense. You know, I don't know what. I'm trying to see what this other what Pico. You can't trade drawing random lines on your chart is not trading. Yeah, brother. Don't let don't let that. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. Who cares, right? Thanks, Pico. Thanks, brother, man. Thanks for looking out for me. I appreciate that. So let's keep going. Again, we got some time on our hands today where we could go through this slow today and really work out what's going on, right? So, Michael, by the way, this is really, you know, listen, if you're not into a trade yet, you are not looking to pick up a trade today. This is so important. You have to understand that. Listen, this is a long-term game, and you need to start making some really some big decisions that are going to help you get there. One of them is knowing when to trade and when not to trade. Great, and I'll take a look at Australian dollar, Japanese yen. You can see that this trade over here looks pretty nice coming off of this trend line over here. It's a good place to take an entry because you know where you're wrong right away. But if you're not into a trade yet this morning, you're not looking to take up a trade. All right, it's Friday. We're going to watch what happens. We're going to take a look at the market. We're going to really understand what's going on and what opportunity there is. But you have to know when to trade and when not to trade. Very important. I mean, listen, by the way, listen, it's very important to be levered correctly for long-term survivability. It's really important. It's really, really important. This is, you know, you want to, you know, I know that I'm going to be around for another 20 years. I'm going to be around in the markets another 20 years. And to do that, what you're looking for is consistency. All right. Really important. By the way, how many people? We don't even have 1,000 people in here, huh? All right. Maybe by the end of the session, we'll get 1,000 in here. But whether there's 30 or 50, anyone who's serious, that's what I'm here for. Let's go ahead and work together. Let's take a look at the US dollar, Mexican peso. All right, here we go. US dollar, Mexican peso, 8-hour time frame. You can see, we see the dollar running into, by the way, because we're talking about US dollar pairs, I just wanted you to focus on what's going on, right? US dollar is back into this this point of it's about to break down past this trend line to the downside, right? 97.03 is your number to worry about or think about, or to the upside over here. And right now it is back within that range. So what happens next on the dollar is really going to give a lot of indication of what's happening next on these US dollar pairs we're looking at over here. And you can see that there's really no edge right now on the US dollar Mexican peso because it could break right now either way. That's kind of what we're looking at for the next leg. And we don't know if we're going to come back down into support or up into this resistance. The trade entry was this yellow line down here. That was the trade entry off the support. That's something we looked at going into the week, right? And you could see that was an entry, and then you came back, tested it, another entry. This is not a place to be looking for a trade. It's more of observing what happens next. Do we come back down into the support, or do we come into that resistance? It's a little, the terrible numbers out of Canada this morning. Terrible, terrible, terrible numbers. Remember, retail sales in the U.S. were up strongly, right? Retail sales in the U.S. were up very strongly. You could see over here up 17%, right? Core up 12%. Over in Canada, you had the exact opposite. Core down 22% and retail's down 26%. Nevertheless, the Canadian dollar is acting strong today. Stronger than the Japanese yen, stronger than the dollar. So, what do you make of that? I don't know. But here on the Canadian dollar, you could see that we are still now coming back down and testing this support again. Having trouble. They're so tightly correlated, these two pairs, the US dollar, Mexican peso, and the US dollar, Canadian dollar, to each other and to the S&P over here. So it's a little bit better read what's happening here on the S&P, right? And you can see that we're resuming outwards. That could continue to put a little bit of pressure on both the US dollar, Canadian dollar, and the US dollar, Mexican peso. I'm not seeing any type of reversals here right now in the moment. All right. Let me find Pikachu. Just pause 1 second over here. I'm gonna find Pikachu, and send them out of here. I can't even find him. See, what he's already wasted too much time of our time, our energy. We don't need that. I understand there are a lot of people searching for attention, who just have experienced the lack of love in their life. That's it, But I can't find them. Hey, Reza, absolutely, man. Reza, I'm so glad I got to go back and read this comment saying many thanks for your effort and time and spreading free knowledge. Sorry that we have nothing in return except smashing that like button. I love seeing the thumbs up go up. That's okay. I do appreciate that, Reza. That's awesome, and thank you very much. I can't find Pikachu to block him. I'll block him in a second, but until then, don't pay any mind. There he is. Remember me, I will be back. Pikachu solo. You won't be back here. All right, that's fine. Sorry about all that. Hey, Murray. Thoughts on Wirecard? By the way, Murray, thanks for that. Thoughts on Wirecard? I read some headlines about Wirecard not being able to find what was it like? Was it $1.6 billion? Hey, Lemmy. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very much. Lebby, you're such an awesome part of the community, as is everyone who's here whenever they can be. Adding lots to it. I do appreciate that. I'm not familiar with Wirecard personally, that I could talk about it. It sounds like making the case for Bitcoin. I'll tell you that much. No, it is. Look, some people ask about Ameritrade and Thinkorswim or things like that. Those platforms are so difficult to use. Has anyone ever tried to use TD Ameritrade? It's got to be the worst platform on the face of the earth, right? And then you have Robinhood. Robinhood, they have outages every time the market's moving. Unbelievable. It seems you're either in or out of a trade. You ever scale in and out so you take some profit and try to push the rest, especially in this. Yeah, Red. So again, it's a good question. Red's asking, how do you enter a position, right? And, this is definitely in the course, risk per trade, as well as entering that trade and how you exit that trade. But so listen, if you are a trend trader, and I'm talking about looking to catch big trends like the turtle traders, then there are times that you enter a position, right? And then you're looking to add, or even during the crisis here, we tried to, with just dear luck, almost take positions and then hold them as long as you could during the crisis. specifically on the Swiss franc and Japanese yen. But the question is, in swing trading, instead of actually looking to add multiple positions, you want to take off positions. Again, we work into details and get into that in the course. But Wirecard, I'm not sure. I mean, sounds like fraud to me. What else? What else could you say about that? Listen, more importantly, though, instead of getting caught up, you I'm sorry, I'm just looking for the name because he's Murray. Murray, instead of getting caught up in things like that, focus your attention over here on the currency, in the currency markets. You're going to be able to get yourself involved in trends that are smoother, that make more sense, that are rounder, that don't have all this nonsense of gaps and times limiting you. I wanted to go make a GBTC purchase last night. It must have been like not even 5 o'clock in the afternoon. I log into the account and they're like, yeah, the market's closed. What is that nonsense? Who wants to trade a market where you can't get in and out when you need to get in and out? Utter ridiculousness, right? Focus over here on the FX. It's a fantastic market. The trends are easier. It's going to be easier for you to make money. I'm wondering how you manage the trading amount against the whole available fund. Memorable Murray. Look, it's just a question of jumping in, finding out the feeling of the room, and adding what you can to it, right? All right, let's keep going over here. Yeah, Stefan, Webull, I'm using Webull. Again, I don't like it as much as I do FX platforms, that's for sure. But better than a MetaTrade over here. S&P continuing up. I hope this is a slow drift home run. Dollar, by the way, firming up over there since New York is coming into the action. I really want to keep a watch of that. I know we haven't really got into too many of the pairs yet because we have a long session ahead of us, and we're gonna take our time and go through everything today. I'm a little excited to take a little bit more time today. Yeah, so Tom, is why most people always say FX market is more complicated. Coming from the West, growing up in America, I understand that most Americans are just like the stock market, the stock market, the stock market, the stock market, that little bitty market, right? But if you look at all of anyone who's made their money in the markets, and I'm talking the billionaires, whether it is someone like George Soros, whether it is someone like Stanley Druckenmiller, someone like Paul Tudor Jones, Ray Dalio, all of them trade in the FX markets, the currency markets, right? The currency markets are definitely the better market. Just by spending a few weeks on it, you'll come to see that and understand it. Like anything else, it probably is a little bit new, and everything that's new is different. And where sometimes we don't want to continue learning new things. Sometimes we don't want to learn new things. Yeah, so this is a good conversation. My worry about FX is I feel that if the trade goes wrong, I can't just hold, but I can with stocks. Well, I don't necessarily understand why you feel that way. There are traders who have been short the euro US dollar here going on now for a couple and few years, continuing to hold that position. Trends in Forex could actually go on for quite a long time. It's a nice market to trade. Plus, it gives you the ability to trade in and out whenever you want. But if you look at this downtrend over here, a lot of traders are short from over up here when we came back and tested this over here. And again, they've been collecting a nice swamp up until recently where it lowered, but they've been and continue to collect a nice swamp. It's a long lasting trade. And we'll see what happens in stocks. I'm wondering if a good trade is long S&P in Bitcoin for an extended period of time, right? Where are we going to be, 12 months from now, 2 years from now on the S&P? Well, I don't have the answer to that question. I'm not trying to answer that right now. We do a very good job of looking at this and trading it from day to day and make a lot more money than you would buy and hold. But it's a thought experiment. Are we going to enter some type of lost decade that they experienced in Japan? Japan put in its stock market highs in the early 90s and has never come close to reclaiming them. Could that happen in the US equity markets, or are we going more towards like a currency debasement situation? And are we going to see, like in Zimbabwe and Venezuela, are we going to see the stock market continue to rise? Or are we going to see a strong dollar in the stock market rising because the US continues to be the best place to put your money to work because of the consistent growth in the whole world? And are we going to see that happen? I don't know. You know, yeah, and by the way, this was also a Stanley Druckenmiller's trade. It was trading for Soros's quantum fund, and it was Soros who actually spoke with Stanley and told him to push that trade a lot harder than he was. Both of them working together, and there was nothing wrong with that. The central bank was on the wrong side of the trade. They didn't do anything wrong. Jordan, how do you include after hours trading candles in TradingView? Lance, I'm looking at a symbol here, and the symbol is called SPX US dollar 500 by Alanda, and that's the feed that I'm able to look over there. Let's take a look at Bitcoin this morning. By the way, the dollar slowly trying to creep back from that trend line test it took. See what happens over there. Silver, we spoke about yesterday. Silver at the low part of the range. Of the two, that was the attractive one looking for the entry. Wasn't on my radar to take. Nevertheless, do you know how important it is to be able to look at the markets and just consider to yourself what's going on? Someone was talking about, is it time to short gold up here this morning? And, we step back a second. Gold right now is in a 1 year, trading right near 1 year highs and 8-year highs. It's literally actually only $30 off 8-year highs and yearly highs. So you don't want to be shorting gold. However, if you're able to distinguish that over here, it should run into some resistance and maybe trade down, instead of taking that counter trend trade, instead of taking a trade that is fostering bad habits and is going to inhibit you from actually being consistently profitable, it's better to just see why you think it might trade off from here. And then if it does trade off, follow it. And then pick a support area that you're comfortable looking to lean in for this. And that way you're trading, buying off support in a strong uptrend, but don't take the downside trade, even if you could visualize it. That's a lot smarter. Bitcoin continues its epic consolidation phase. Right? And I love that it is consolidating here. I love that after this volatility caused by the dollar liquidity crisis, right? And after regaining itself and regaining this important level over here, let me just look on the 3-day time frame with you. It's a little bit easier here. After it was able to reclaim this trendline support over here and get back into the triangle before breaking out over here for the bull run, it's nice that it is consolidating here. It's giving it the opportunity to prepare for a big move. It's giving it the opportunity here to prepare for a big move. Now, is that big move going to be down towards 6,000 or towards 6,500, which you're seeing a lot of people maybe being prepared for? Well, that's good. Definitely want to be prepared for a downside breakdown of here. If we lose the 80-100, this trend line support over here, that would be a bad technical signal over here. That would be a bad technical signal. And if we lost this area over here right around 8100, then the odds are we're coming back towards 6800 or even 65, and that would be oddly weird. And if it happened, it would have to happen quickly. But if it happened, it could get a lot of people shooken out of their Bitcoin positions, especially a lot of leveraged people. There's no question about it. I don't think that's going to happen. That's what it would look like if it happened, and it will be quick. It will be quick down here. So for long-term holders, it's still an opportunity to buy. Now, I do think that we're getting ready here to break out towards the upside. This 10,400 level, that's the level that as soon as we break it, we're going to say now that our bull run has officially begun, and then we'll take it from there. But Bitcoin looks great consolidating over here, and it's been able, it's not, when you have trouble making moves to the upside, that's usually a sign that you're going to roll over. Right now, Bitcoin is having trouble making moves to the downside. It's having trouble making moves to the downside. A lot of traders expected we'd have already lost the 9,100 level. It keeps holding. So the longer that persists, that's an indication that actually we're getting ready to break out here to the upside. Hey, maybe it's as soon as this weekend. We are now getting to the point. We're now getting to the point where Bitcoin's close. That Lance's message is still on the screen. Let's see. Boop. Thanks for that. Thanks, Mart. All right, so Bitcoin looking good. There's a question about the euro, US dollar. Jordan, when and if Bitcoin rises at $100,000, what do you think happens to the value of the US dollar? So Steve in Colorado, beautiful land, beautiful country. If Bitcoin raises to $100,000, I don't think that the dollar could be both strong or weak. Either way. We were talking about yesterday in the S&P 500, could we be coming towards a time when we're going to start seeing the big four, the S&P 500 rising, gold also rising, Bitcoin rising, and the dollar rising. I think that we might be right now on the verge of entering a period like that. Highly abnormal, but that might be the new sweet spot. That's the area we were in earlier in the year, at the beginning of the year. All four of those were rising for a couple of months when everything was looking really, really pretty solid and good. If we're returning to a new normal, maybe that's the period we're going to be entering again. I'm not worried about in the long term. When I say long term, I mean if we're talking about the inevitable devaluation of the dollar, right? If the dollar devalues by 20-30%, and that could be something that's slow and takes time, or that could be something that's disorderly and happens overnight. When that happens, Bitcoin is going to be the beneficiary, as is gold, and they are going to be repriced up in accordance. But in the near term, and near term is the next 12 to 18 months, regardless of the price of the dollar, Bitcoin is going to do its thing. So it's more of a long-term factor, not such a short-term factor over there. Euro, US dollar, is this a good time to lean in short was the question. Let's check this out on the 8-hour time frame. I lost my 8 hours. How is that even possible? I must have accidentally deleted that. Let me go ahead and add that in. That's how easy it is to add it in. So we're looking here at the euro US dollar. By the way, let's step back for this. We're going to take a little bit more time than normal. Make sure everyone gets a good look. Yeah, dude. I mean, so all markets are manipulated, dude. All markets are manipulated by the participants trying to bet on their outcomes. Is the Bitcoin market manipulated? Of course. Is the US stock market manipulated? Of course. Right? So, Satoshi's coins have not moved, and, it's not looking like they ever are going to move. If they do move, that will just give new people the opportunity to buy. Grayscale alone, GBTC, is taking up more of supply than Bitcoin miners are able to mine by 150%. There are coins that have been held for over 3 years at a new all-time of not moving, right? So now you're running into a position where there's further demand for Bitcoin, and people who have been holding now for 3 years are no longer moving those coins. That's going to lessen the amount of supply. Markets are all supply and demand. Over here, we're looking at the euro US dollar. I'm looking at the 3-day time frame to show you this support over here, this trend line going back 5 years. This is where we're up against right now. I want you to keep that in mind as we come down to the 8-hour time frame right now. This is that trend line that I was just showing you, and price is so far being rejected. Now, if we get above this trend line here to the upside, that could then bring into play the upper trend line, right? That's right around a price of 1.17. That could come into play, right? Or maybe that at the time is 1.165, but that could come into play, that upper trend line, if we break out above here. So continue to watch what happens next on the euro US dollar. There is downside pressure as the dollar has been on the move ever since the FOMC, ever since last Wednesday. The dollar has been bid, and you could see, though, maybe what is happening is you could see that we're seeing a descending wedge pattern developing here on the euro US dollar. So be aware if you get a breakout to the upside out of this wedge, because that could then be setting off a big move. You could definitely say or argue that right now, euro US dollar in the near term is in an uptrend. However, you could also look at it that it is rolling over. Hold on, let me zoom in. Dollar could be on the verge here of a bigger move, right? This is definitely here on the 8-hour. So the trade was, right? The trade was off this trend line right here. I actually got an entry and then wound up getting stop loss at break even on this trade. But this was the entry off of this that I took off of this trend line over here, right? On the 8-hour, right up there, right? So if you were still in this trade, are you now thinking that we've pulled back in here into this area of local resistance? And if we resume off of it, could that be another entry towards the downside? Possibly, possibly. It's Friday, though, so it's not a trade that you could take today. So that makes it kind of irrelevant, and that puts you in a position where you're on the sidelines, not only right now, but through Asia. And the earliest time that you could take an opportunity on this will be during London. You'll have more information at that point. You'll have more information to make a better educated trade. And that could be even pulling back into this area of resistance at 1.1282. That's an area to look for, right? That could happen next week. Or maybe you have the opportunity during London to get over down here. But right now we continue to have that downside impulse happening. How far longer it'll extend, I'm not sure. Watch out for that rising wedge pattern that I showed you. That's in play. Let me just draw it up there for everyone. All right. So I don't feel so rushed this morning, which I like a lot. Take a look around right now. Let me check in on what the S&P is doing over here. I might even take a sip of coffee. I got matcha here and coffee with me. All set. All right. You guys see the importance of having that patience? That instead of getting to your screen and having to be rushed about getting yourself into a position so that you could simply monitor the position that you're in, that's not how you make money. That's how you lose money. If you do that, if you're the type of person who gets in front of their computer, pulls up, an instrument and takes a trade, if that's your plan, to look at the market this morning, to jump in front of the Australian dollar, US dollar, and be like, within 1 minute, decide what trade you're taking, right? And then you're doing this wrong. You're doing this wrong, and you need to really change that. And the first thing you should do is just stop trading. Stop trading and just start spending time with us during these live streams, and then you're going to know when you should start trading. Bum 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 bum. How can so Dino's asking a question over here, and how come we can't see the 50-point S&P jump to the upside on your chart? Well, I mean, listen, if this is what you're trading and you have limited time of when you're allowed to trade it, that's kind of being handicapped, right? That's being handicapped. Like I said, I tried to buy some GBTC yesterday at like 4:45, and they're like, "Sorry, the exchange is closed." What kind of nonsense is that? But here on the S&P 500, taking a look at the index, you trade this 23 hours a day. You're not limited, right? You got to make good decisions. Popcorn, popcorn. I think I'm more, listen, I did this all on my own. And it was an incredibly long, difficult journey that I don't think that many people would be able to do on their own. No question about that. Some extraordinarily dark times on the path of really digging as deep as possible in order to make it work. Having early success without knowing what I was doing, being able also to really do well during the 2008 crisis, many times putting together what some might consider a small fortune, and then learning that holding on to your money is just as important as learning how to make it. It took a long time. I never had anyone showing me what I share here with you. I have people in the training program, my own personal training program, who have gone from zero experience to within about 6 weeks starting to trade consistently profitable. It's absolutely phenomenal and amazing. People with over 20 years experiences working with me and in a short amount of time also going consistently profitable. Lots of people who work with me and take the course in about 3 weeks, 3 to 5 weeks, become pretty much break-even traders, and they are just now on the verge of learning what they need to do to manage their trades. How much? Think about it. It's such a short time, 3 to 5 weeks. How to manage their trades is going to be the difference, in the near time ahead of them going on to becoming consistently profitable traders. Lemmy, I haven't really sat down and thought about it, but when I'm looking at the progress being made, it's absolutely phenomenal. Like, trading is difficult. A lot of people struggle for a long, long time. Most people don't do it. To see that type of success just across so many different people in a short time, it's pretty amazing. Hey man, big shout out. Appreciate it. Just trying to get a breath here as we get into the next little bit flow over here. No, I don't think it's helpful at all to track gaps in the S&P and the SPY. Now there are people that I like. I think it's like something called like North Grum Trader, Sven something or other. Like once a month I'll see an article posted, usually on Zero Hedge, and he'll outline a chart with the gaps in it, and then he'll be like, they need to close. Yeah, so maybe they're going to close one day, but I don't need to look at them to be able to be on the trade that's going to close them, right? It's not a strategy to look at gaps and be like they're going to close one day. It's no edge for myself. I do really well not minding the gaps. Northman Trader, Michael, thank you. He provides some really cool work. But again, that's long time. That it could take a long time for all that to come to fruition. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, he's a purple bear, ridiculously stubborn. His analysis will be helpful to you at certain times, But if you're going to stay in that camp, you're not going to, it's ugly. Yeah. That's a really excellent question. If anyone has a time, I don't know why. I don't know. And I think is it 3:45? Is it 3:45 p.m.? So anyone could that confirm that? That would be awesome. That's just a quick Google search. Again, I'm not, yeah, well, I don't need to focus on, do they help identify support and resistance? If you're looking at the gaps, I draw my support and resistance without looking at gaps, and I'm able to do that. You'll find the gaps by looking at where I put my support and resistance. How about that? So if anyone has the 345, it is. Thanks, Reza. Do appreciate that. I want mine too, CJ. I want it too. I want some kid sizes. I want to get the kids wearing those too. Yep. Kevin. Oh, is that why I didn't take the trade? No, I didn't take the trade because I didn't take the trade. But yeah, you can't take the trade now. That trade happened during London. And you could take it during London. Fridays morning, taking trades during London, it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense. But taking it during New York, less and less. So just be careful about the time of day. We're seeing the pound under still a lot of pressure over here ever since the Bank of England restarted QE. And wow, taking out an important level over here, a couple of them. But this was an important level we took out. Turn this now to resistance. You can see that I don't have a trade on it. Like I don't have even an idea how to get into here. But you are just now, as you break that really important level, and you're firmly breaking below it, it looks like you are perhaps setting up further room here for an impulse to the downside. Depends on what happens with the dollar. I don't see it right now. You know what? I'm going to do a top-down weekly Forex forecast and analysis this time. Last week we did 8-hour and pointed out setups. I'll also do that. Any pairs that are actually set up going into the London session on Monday, I'll include. But right now, I think it's better to let this session finish, and then we'll take a look at things with clarity, set ourselves up for Monday. Yep, definitely. In Forex, only trade the full London session, including the New York overlap until London closes. While you can trade in foreign exchange the last 2 hours of the day between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. and have good signals, they just are very few signals. Those are good trades to take if you get a trigger during those times and those trades work out. It's easier for me because of the infrequency of trades just to avoid that time of day as well. It just makes it easier to manage. And same thing in all markets. You'll have a better time trading them with volume. Contrary to popular belief, it's not volatility is what traders want. Traders just want clarity. Volume helps bring that clarity. You get less false signals. By focusing in, by being more efficient, you'll improve your trading performance all around. Nice, Thomas. I'm glad you got that move. I'm really glad you got that move. No binary options trading in here at all. So this is a fun Friday question over here, Maximiliano. What do you think about the market efficiency theory, efficient market theory? And don't time the markets. And also, you cannot beat the markets. Is this not what you're trying to do? Seems everyone recommends against it. Yeah. So I've had this conversation with some friends of mine who do risk management for some hedge funds, and I obviously do not believe in efficient market theory, or you would not have the number of traders who are able to beat the market year in and year out and for decades. The markets are not efficient, and that's why the markets are always pricing in whatever they can. We've seen examples all the time. when showing the inefficiency of markets. So yeah, I don't buy the efficient market theory. It was probably made by some academic who's never even traded a market in his life. And then you could use the track record of someone like, we'll just use the best of the best. Stanley Druckenmiller has had a 30% return for 30 years. So obviously the markets are not efficient. It's a good question though, and it's really good to talk about. Yep. So all markets are manipulated. You can make money throughout the understanding that the markets are manipulated. It doesn't affect you. The fact that the markets are manipulated does not affect you. You're trading the market itself. Just came back to my house. I'll go see him now. See you, bro. Um, Bum bum. Do I recommend buying the Nasdaq at this price? So if you look at yesterday, by the way, if you haven't seen it, to go back and watch the video, the last published video on the channel, which was published and is published every afternoon, and it talked about what our plan was for the markets, and then you can see over here why I got long as we broke out above this bull flag and above that resistance coming in right over there at 31.27. Got a free trade in. It's pretty like a layup in basketball. It wasn't, not a lot of emotions. Wait, what does that mean? Not a lot of emotions. When the market's moving and you take a trade and you pull the trigger, you more have that uncertainty feeling in you, right? Unless you're not human. And if you have an automated system do it, you're still watching with the automated system doing it. So yeah, Dan, a lot of people are uncomfortable buying the market right now, which makes it a really good place to be buying the market, right? Everyone is expecting a crash. Look, we were watching for this move over here. I only got a small piece of it, but we were watching for this one. I got a big piece of this move, right? We were looking right over here. The market's looking good and healthy. There's All right, this is the question that I want to take a look at right now. This is the question right now. So Jordan, in your opinion, why do 75% of traders lose money? Is it simply because they don't take the time to learn, over leverage their trades, and or etc.? And the two are tightly correlated, right? Like, if you don't take time to learn, you're going to be trading over leveraged. The thing is that you have the ability pretty easily to open up a brokerage account and start trading. And you're seeing that happening right now. My 17-year-old nephew, or is he 18? He's about to start his first year of college. Has started becoming an active trader on Robinhood, because you could just open up the account, deposit some money into it, and start trading. So you're not going to be a success like that, right? You're going to wind up going through a long road of making a lot of bad choices and our habits. But it's like anything else there is in life. Those that are looking to achieve something, what they do is they look to learn from those that know how. They do that usually through some type of structured learning environment and or coaching. Whether you're talking about any type of sport or career, that's how it's done. If you think that you're going to be able to jump into the markets and figure it out on your own, I would completely bet against you. I'll bet against you, because like you're saying, 75% of those traders are going to lose money, right? And why? It's because they're just doing it without any type of instruction and or plan. They have no idea what they're doing, and they don't need to, because they're allowed to do it. There's no oversight. No one is helping them through it. And the markets are complicated. The markets are one of the most complicated things in the world. That's why my 7-year-old daughter asked me last week. That's why I got into the markets in the first place, was because of the challenge. So if you're not willing every day to put that time and effort in there to learn, understand, and to learn and understand yourself, because part of trading is being a trader, which means mastering thyself, which you cannot do unless you're detached, which you cannot do unless you have a plan. You cannot do unless you're not working on yourself as a person at all times. It's just having a growth mindset. A lot of people just go in and they start trading. Some even get lucky in the beginning. Almost all of them wind up losing all of their initial investment because they trade too much. They trade without a plan because they're just chasing momentum, because they don't know how to trade with position size, because they're not calculated and knowing what they're looking for and why, or able to read the market, and yeah, so they're set up to lose from the beginning because they're entering into something without having the time, without putting the time required in to make it a success, right? Again, Lance Armstrong, right? Whatever he did, was wrong by using substance enhancing, whatever. But at the same time, the guy had such a work ethic, as do all the greats, right? The guy on New Year's Day was out there riding 100 kilometers. Ulrich gives him a call and was like, "Hey man, how was your New Year's?" He's like, "I'm out there riding right now." And Ulrich was like, "At that moment, I knew that he was going to beat me." Yeah, forget about the substance abuse. Michael Jordan, Shaq. How many free throws does Shaq shoot after a game? Kobe Bryant. When everyone's off the court, he's on the court practicing. If you don't put the time into your analysis, if you don't put the time in to understand what it is you are doing, you have no chance. It's that simple. So it's up to you. A lot of people have the desire to be consistently profitable traders. Well, then invest in yourself. The first thing you need to do is exactly what you're doing now. Invest your time in learning from an expert who is showing you what you need to do. And guess what? Anything I'm sharing is not complicated. I'm really not sharing complicated concepts or ideas or skills that people can't do. Anyone who wants to make the decision that they want to do it could do it. It's just a question of you're going to decide or not. You have to, and it's sometimes for some people it takes a little bit more time, but you have to mature as a person. You have to mature as a person. If you're your own worst enemy, making the same mistakes over and over again, then it's up to you to sit down with yourself and make a decision. Make an adult decision. It's the only way things change. There are some really good motivational speeches across the internet. Impact Theory, Tom, I can't pronounce his last name, but Tom from Impact Theory, right? Search on YouTube, Tom Impact Theory Motivational. Listen to this guy's talk, right? Listen to Joe Rogan's motivational speech. Listen to them. They're going to really help you get inspired to continue to work on yourself. And it'll only click for you in trading when you're focused on working on yourself also. You have to work hard on all aspects. Awesome, Charlie. I am, brother. I am talking directly to you. Yeah. Hustle beats talent when talent doesn't hustle. I don't care how talented you are without discipline, you are nothing. No matter how talented you are, without discipline, you are nothing. That work ethic, no matter what point you're starting from, is all you need to achieve. Martha is absolute testimony to this. Coming into this, just having the desire that she wanted to do it and she was going to do it right. So instead of trying to reinvent the wheel, she's trying to learn how the wheel actually spins on its axis. That's what she's learning to do. Not sure what a pip is? Okay, let me search. What is a pip? Taking pro action, right? And then going step by step, not in a rush to get it all yesterday, going step by step, however long it takes to figure out how to place a buy order. And then when she's ready to understand how we're trading and why we're trading, and then all of a sudden it makes sense and it's clear, she's able to do it. And not only is she able to do it, she's doing it for what is taught and instructed rather than trying to sell the top, right? Or buy the bottom. So work ethic is everything. It's all everyone needs to do. Jan Ulrich, there's the name I was looking for. I couldn't think of his name. Yeah, big shout out. I think getting long the S&P is a bad idea here at this time of day. It's 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern time on a Friday. There's no need to get long the S&P. You have the quadruple witching taking place at 345. There could be volatility. It could be to the upside or downside. There's simply no need to be in a trade right now. And that is a huge piece of growth. Once you understand that this time of day, this time of the week, that you don't need to be looking to take a new trade in the market, well, now you're maturing and now you're setting yourself up for the possibility to do this. Trading is a lot more fun when you're making money. Trading is a lot more fun when you're making money. Trading is difficult when you're losing money. Trading, it could be a nightmare if you don't know what you're doing and you're sitting there throwing up flares, trying to get something to stick and work. Why are you wasting your time doing that? Why are you getting yourself into a position that you're just going to be glued to the screen watching that position now instead of learning how to trade? Instead of learning what you actually need to do to get yourself into the right position. Think about what you're doing with your time. Think about what you're doing with your time, how you're spending it so that you could better yourself and your position tomorrow. That's what you need to do. Yeah, I would not trade Roku or any individual stock. I would open up a demo account with a Forex broker like Owanda and start learning how currencies work. Stock. Yeah, I like this comment over here. I'm worried that we're in a bubble which may expand for a very long time. That's where I'm at too. Am I watching for this thing to roll over? And if it rolls over, right, and we come down and test the lows, am I going to be a part of that? 100% I'm going to be a part of that. If this market starts crashing and this market goes on this was nothing but a bear market rally, I'm going to be there to attack and I'm going to make a lot of money on the downside. But right now, my bigger concern than this thing rolling over is, are we in another bubble? And is this thing going to continue to just keep going on? That's what I'm worried about right now. That's what I'm seeing happening right now. I'm not seeing this falling. I'm not seeing this crashing at all yet. Bubbles could go on for a lot longer than people expect. Hey, Carlo, have a wonderful weekend. Have a wonderful weekend. To all fathers out there, by the way, happy Father's Day. Happy Father's Day. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not sure about Ray Dalio personally. I mean, guy is managing the largest fund in the world. Credit where credit is due, no question about it. It's hard managing that much money. The time frame is different. Ray talks his book a lot, but in the end, he might be proven wrong. I like his research, but he's right. It could take a long time for a bubble to burst. Ray was talking about, or perhaps a lost decade ahead in stocks. Ray is talking about, I believe yesterday, is talking about we could see just a lost decade in the stock market. No, Darren, I don't set any type of weekly income goals. You should not, first of all, one of the main things that you should be focused in on here as a trader is not having any type of income goals. You should be thinking of trading as investing, right? Your long-term goal should be consistent monthly growth. And that consistent monthly growth, right, needs to compound for years. So that you should not be, until your account is worthy that your monthly return is providing enough. You want to continue putting all that money to work for you. Otherwise, you're never going to get anywhere. Otherwise, you're going to be a hamster running on a wheel. And it's not possible, for example, with a small account like $50,000 to provide weekly income. You're just going to be running in circles. There's no room for error over there. You should be viewing Forex as a vehicle to lead to long-term wealth. And that's exactly what it is. You have to get yourself in that mind frame of learning what it needs to do. I did a video on it. I think the video might be unlisted. So I'm going to look into putting together and sharing a video that is going to set your perspective straight on what you should be doing and what type of goals you should be setting for yourself. You want to set goals that you could achieve. And I tell you what, if you're able to do 2, maybe 3% a month consistently, you're on your way to becoming wealthy. That should be your goal. That should be your goal. TC, hustle and work ethic has turned out to be more important for me than my peers who had talent but went lazy. That's true. That's what it's all about, and that's what I want to see everyone here developing their mindset to do what it takes to be successful. You have 2 choices. You could either say, I want to be a trader and I'm going to just only go for the easy way, and that's it, and you're not going to make it. Or you could have someone that says, I love the markets. I know that they could be a huge asset to my life. They could really change my situation. I'm going to put in all the work and I'm going to do whatever is needed to achieve my goal. That's how you start. That's how you start. You have to start from a position of knowing where you're headed. You have to have a realistic plan, a plan that you know is going to take work and dedication. And then you have to go off and you have to get up every day and work towards that goal. For a lot of people, for most people in the beginning, what that means is start spending a lot more time analyzing the markets and less time trading. There's a reason I limit the number of trades that my students take. It's because it makes a huge difference overall. That's one of the biggest differences that it makes in everyone's performance is the amount of trades they were taking, the amount of trades they start taking, because now they're looking for the good trades. And it makes a difference if you have the limitation on yourself where you could take unlimited trades or 3 or 5 trades a day, or you have a limit to how many trades you could take per week. It makes a huge difference on the trades you start taking, how you manage them, and it really affects your bottom line. Boom, boom, see? My first profitable week dropped from 31 trades to 6, which is still too much, but on the way. Good job, TC. Great job. All right. I don't like the look of that. Let me finish zooming in and we'll go like this now. All right. So what else have we got going on? Let's check in on the markets, which are kind of just flatlining. Let me pull down. Let me come down to the 1 hour time frame. You can see so far this resistance holding. Got to break above in order to feel good about holding into the weekend. If we close between my entry and this resistance, if we close without me getting stopped out, I'll go ahead and I will go ahead and just take profits into the weekend. I won't hold this over the weekend unless we are able to start getting trading above that resistance over there. Andre, you're asking how much should you be risking per trade? You should be risking no more than 0.5% per trade. Yep, all the time. All the time. Yeah, let's do that right now. Let's take a look. We're looking here at the S&P 500. It's broken out of this bull flag, coming in and testing this area of resistance. You got this trend line resistance. I'll highlight it for you right now since we are trading at it. And I'll zoom out on the bigger time frame. This is the trend line right here that we are currently up against. You could see it. It's the upper end of this range. price is right now being rejected by it, and we're also trading up towards the horizontal resistance at 31.47. In order for this move to continue, we need to break above that during today's New York session here, and then close above it, and that would be a pretty big positive going into the weekend. Does it look like that we're being rejected and are now in jeopardy of this being a false break of the bull flag? I mean, not yet. We're just right now consolidating right above the next resistance above us. We would have to obviously lose the 31.26 level to this be in jeopardy of now failing. That could happen today. There could be a lot of volatility and a lot of spikes both ways. It's quadruple witching this afternoon at 3:45. So volatility is expected. If you're not into a position, you do not want to be in one. The DXY is, you could see, still trying to break out of this triangle pattern that it's in. And whichever way it breaks could open up a prolonged move. If we break out here to the downside and then get below 97, look for a pullback initially into 96.71 or perhaps even into 96. That is something to watch out for. Or you could see we were watching this level over here, this first resistance level at 97.40, which we did break out above yesterday, but then got caught up in the next resistance area at 97.60. It is 97.60 that the dollar index needs to break above now in order to look to take us into 98.30. So the dollar is at an inflection point where it could trade either way now. That's to watch for. Gold is continuing to consolidate. You guys see the consolidation range it's in, right? And this is at a 1 year and 8 year high. That's extraordinarily bullish, and we'll just keep watching. Silver doing the exact same thing, consolidating over here a little bit further from the yearly high. But if the two start breaking out, silver could catch up quickly. You could see it's leading on the day, coming off the support we looked at yesterday as a possible opportunity. We're also looking at WTI. WTI broke out of the inverse head and shoulders over here and is now trading up. It looks like that perhaps it finally may come and close this gap, right? This is in play right now. So this is why gap strategies don't work. Can you imagine if you would have bought this after the gap, hoping that gap was going to close? You would have went to zero before the gap closed. Don't trade gaps. This is not a good strategy. Bitcoin also consolidating, very similar to the precious metals. Bitcoin is putting in the same type of pattern over here. I am wondering if we do come to a time when we see the S&P, gold, Bitcoin, and the dollar all strengthening. We'll see. Listen, I'm not calling that. I'm watching it. I'm observing it. Could we see the dollar break down out of this pattern over here? Could that help the S&P? 100%. They're so tightly correlated right now. And Bitcoin has been pretty resilient. You could see these every time it got below 91, it was bought up pretty quick. I still have an order in at 85 and at 82. I don't like I've been saying, I don't know if they'll get filled. The last time I got filled down there was over here. I'll look to pick up more if it happens, but I mean, Bitcoin is consolidating pretty nicely, and I think the next move is going to be up. I think the next move on Bitcoin is going to be up. When that happens, we are now getting close. If I wanted to be safe about it, I would say anytime within the next 6 weeks, but it could be as soon as this weekend, and it could be anytime within the next few weeks. We'll see. Well, Focus, this is a good question, but obviously, I mean, are you brand new to the channel? Is this the first live stream you're catching? Because if it's not, you could see that I'm always looking at the S&P, the full index, without the gaps, because it's a better market to trade. It's what you'll find the more time you spend here, that to answer your question, I consider and look at the index itself, right? That's the better thing to focus on. Jordan, would you get long if the S&P dips to the 3,100 support? I mean, when? Would not, if you're not into a position, I wouldn't get into a position, right? Hold on one second. There we go. If we dip down to 3,100, would I be looking to get long? Well, maybe, but I'm not considering that now. I'm already long, right? So I'm considering when to get out before considering when to get long again. But is that if you're not in the, I mean, listen, there's a whole session ahead of us. You're not looking to trade right now. Let's reevaluate, which I'll do after the market close. And I will definitely lay out what the current situation is and what type of trades, whether they're long or short, that we could be looking for going into Monday's session. Let's do it like that. So that's a good look around of what is going on, what we should be looking for right now. Being aware of the time of day is kind of important. Who appreciated the tone of this Friday session? That was a little bit different today. If you did appreciate or enjoy the flow of today's session, go ahead and either hit the like button so I know, or if you already hit the like button, maybe just write give me a taco or something in the chat just so I know. No, Jack, I'm not looking to take. It was such a good week. It's Friday now, getting ready. There's no urgency to take a new trade right now, right? Let's just wait for things to be a little bit clearer. When things are a little bit clearer, then we'll be looking for where our next entry is. I will put out an S&P video tomorrow morning that is looking at what has happened in the S&P 500 today, what our plan is going into Monday. But let's wait for the rest of the session to complete. Whether, I don't need to paint myself into the corner. I'll just look at it fresh, and then I'll decide whether or not we're looking to be neutral, buy, or sell. Rick, thank you. You too. Thanks, Rick. Have a great weekend. So we did like the flow of this. I liked it, being able to spend more time. It's Friday. We didn't have to blow through the pairs because we get to do that on this weekend's video where we get to really look at the pairs. Brad, surf and tacos. That's what I'm all about. So yeah. So guys, just one bit of perspective. If and when this thing is ready to roll over and crash and burn, let's be there. I mean, we're gonna be there, and we're gonna be short, and we're gonna be looking to make and hold through a big move. We'll do that. But right now, we're not having any indications that this thing is rolling over or under any kind of pressure whatsoever. And right now, this thing is bullish, and it's showing that it is coming out of a bullish bull flag over here, extending upwards. It's pretty clear what happens next. Either this resistance holds 31.47 and then we trade lower, right? It's a good place to pick up shorts over here. Or if we break above it, let's check out what happens around 3,200. But there's no sense of urgency. There's no rush. We're just going to be able to analyze ourselves through it, stay on the right side of the trade, continue working on ourselves to improve our trading. Having that mindset is so important, right? It comes in all aspects. We talk about it. You got to be exercising, and if that means doing just 10 push-ups a morning, you got to start with the 10 push-ups. You got to start sleeping well. You got to start eating right. You have to work on improving yourself as a person. You will see it translate into your trading. You're in the perfect environment. You're in the perfect environment here all together. This community is setting yourself up for success. If you're already here, however you stumbled upon us, thankfully you're here. Now it's a question of doing and making the other decisions you need to make to take yourself further. No, Joe, I don't. I'm not. I'm here to teach you how to trade. Anyone who spends their time here and is interesting will learn how to trade, but I'm not, giving you alerts about when to trade. Thank you. Thank you very much. So, Lemmy, this is a really important question that I would like, since it's a Friday, to be able to sit down here and talk about with you for 1 second, right? Because I'm not in any rush. I love this opportunity to hang out with you guys. So, do I exercise? So, a couple of things. I'm coming off of just beating Lyme disease. Lyme disease, anyone's not familiar with, is just it's absolutely atrocious. It's terrible. All right. Me and my wife both had it. Me and my wife both had it as she had given birth to twins. So we had twins, newborns. Not only newborns, we had a 1-year-old and a 2-year-old, and Lyme disease, which makes that basically me and my wife felt absolutely atrocious all the time. To do anything is it's to think, and to be able to find words is difficult. All right. So at this point, I had also just come off a snowboarding injury, and I had hurt my knee. And, I went to the emergency room. They're like, your ACL is torn. Went to the surgeon next day. He's like, your ACL is torn. Then we were staying in Vail, Colorado, and I had a crucifix in my room, which I always bring with me. The housekeeper saw it, was like, oh my goodness, look at these people. They love the Lord. And this guy just had babies, and he hurt his knee. And she started praying without me knowing. She started praying. And then my little girl, my 3-year-old back home, or 4, I don't know, she also was praying. I go the day before the surgery, and they're like, yep, your ACL is not torn. You won't need surgery. Nevertheless, it's taken a lot of time to recover. Every time I start feeling better, which takes about 6 months now, Lyme makes your bones brittle, right? So it was harder to recover from the injury. And every time I would get back out there and start running, I would push it too hard and hurt myself again. This has gone on for years. I just got back into a situation where, I've been, first of all, playing tennis for about 90 minutes twice a week, which has been a good workout. And then I've gotten on a bicycle now consistently, and it has been really strengthening my legs well. I was even able, after a workout this week, to go just run on a soft surface, just 1 mile after the ride. But getting back into there, starting to feel healthy. I'm going to do an Ironman before my 50th birthday. I want to make sure that I'm strong and healthy with all these little ones I got around, so that I'm there for them, could be active with them and help them to be active. And had a lot of things going against me as far as the Lyme and the injury, and also just trying to survive. Having 5 kids is a lot of work, and these kids need a lot of attention. Meanwhile, I have to give them a lot of attention. So it's not so easy to have the time. So you have to devote that time to the family, which means less time for working out. That's why the bike is a good thing. I go out for 20 minutes to a half hour and ride these hills and get a really good workout in a small amount of time. But yeah, I'm going to be setting up, Lemmy. I'm going to make sure that I'm healthy. I'm going to work through these injuries. I'm going to be doing an Ironman before my 50th birthday. Yeah, Jason, I need to be focused more on just doing yeah, weight training's awesome. I'm a big fan of push-ups and squats and things like that. And I was just even, I gotta definitely work out on my triceps and biceps as well though. Yeah, weight training is awesome. I'm kind of more into I'm a big runner. So I can't run right now too well. Wisconsin, what a place. Wisconsin. My friend from Wisconsin, he was doing an Ironman and got into a bike accident. where he dislocated, I think his collarbone. Could have been something in his, I don't know. Yeah, great tip over there, Jack. Everyone use vitamin. I'm gonna take my vitamin D right now, Jack. As you said that, that was a good reminder for me. Make sure you take your vitamin D. Make sure you get your zinc. Stay healthy. Stay healthy. Get some sun. Work out. I love running. I love running. I love being out there, being in the flow, being in the zone. It's a great time to think. So, oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. I can't wait for the day. That's awesome, Gary. Gary, Gary, thanks for your compassion. First of all, I did. I want to say beat with a very. It's been a long time now, over a year since my Lyme has not been active. I went to the doctor, a specialist, and they're like, listen, the three greatest things that aggravate Lyme disease is number one, stress, number two, sugar, and number three, gluten and dairy. So never again, up until this month when during the lockdown, we had a couple of pizza parties with the kids. For over a year and a half, I did not eat any gluten, any sugar, or any dairy. Plain and simple. And I'd just rather feel well than enjoy eating certain things. The only thing I've introduced back into my life over the past 6 months has been barbecue sauce, where once a week or something I'll have a little bit of sugar and barbecue sauce. That's it. But listen, it takes dedication, right? What are you going to do but what you have to do? If that means you can't eat any sugar, any dairy, or any gluten again, okay. If that's what I need to do, right? What do I need to do? And then I'll do it. You have to have the same mindset to be a trader. What do you have to do? Okay, I'll do it. Don't trade during low volume periods. Okay. Trade the 8-hour time frame in Forex. Okay. Only trade during London. Okay. You're right. What are you going to do? Do you want to do it or do you not want to do it? It's up to you. It's just a decision. Fructose. So I don't know. Is it fructose or I haven't eaten fructose in a long time because of high fructose corn syrup is absolutely atrocious for you, Katie. All right, but so if I were to be running a marathon, would I take one of the GUIs? Which some of them I think they have no sugar in them, but they're glucose. Would I take that? Yeah. If I was working out, my body's going to burn through that in a second, and I would definitely take something like that in a second. Oh yeah, I eat fruit. For a long time. I would only eat blueberries. When I first had the Lyme, avoided like mango with a lot of sugar. It was completely avoided. Today I would eat fruit, and I do, but not too much. I definitely don't eat too much fruit. I prefer vegetables, to be honest, and I prefer if I make a smoothie or something, we'll put some blueberries in there as well. But your taste changed really quickly. Your taste really changed as soon as you get off sugar. Within about 2 weeks, your taste buds have adjusted, and actually everything else tastes much better. You're missing taste that you have no idea. The sugar kind of like deadens your taste, and then you enjoy those things much more. Nope. Right now, if I knew that the S&P was out of a hunch was going to fall 300 points, I would not take the trade because there's no signal, right? I do not ever take a trade based on a hunch, simply because even if I know it and I could see the market and it's clear to me, I won't do it because it's a bad behavior, and I won't practice bad behaviors because bad behaviors lead to me not being consistently profitable. And once you're consistently profitable, listen, you just want to do that. So it's the same thing with eating sugar. I don't really care to eat sugar if it's going to make me feel bad, right? I don't want to take a trade that's outside of something that could enforce bad habits because I don't want bad habits. Thank you, Gary Scott Music. Appreciate that very much. I wouldn't trade anything right now, Jay Patel. Right? Let's wait for the weekend. Let's take a look at the markets together. Right now, I would just I I drink a lot of matcha. I drink a lot of matcha. I drink matcha almost every day. And it's all about small habits, right? It's all about small habits. If matcha, which has a lot of antioxidants and is also uh, yeah, very alkaline, is good for you, should you drink it every day? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Mexico's beautiful. The people of Mexico are absolutely beautiful. So in the US, we have a lot more of a community aspect. Here, they have a big family aspect. It is the family, and everyone who's close to the family is tia or tio, uncle or aunt. And there is this larger family centric community, which is very extraordinarily close. Whereas in the US, communities tend to develop more around, it could be something such as the church community. It could be something around kids and their activities. It could be around mutual interests, such as, a roadrunners community or whatever. The US is very community oriented. And I love that about the US. Here, it's more family. Chris L, that's awesome. I appreciate it to you. Yeah. So about what state I'm in, listen, I'm pretty, you know, that's irrelevant. That doesn't matter. I'm not, you got to be careful. In Mexico, you got to also be careful about security, right? Right. That's one of the downsides of Mexico. And you have to be careful about your security. Saying where you live on the internet, it's probably not the smartest thing to do. That's not neither here nor there. That's not going to affect your trading whatsoever. Tequila's okay. There's some great tequila in Mexico, and I definitely enjoy that with just some ice and a lime. Here in Mexico, we actually call the limes lemon, so it's reverse, right? So here it is the yellow one that is called the lime, and the green one is called lemon. So that took some time to getting used to. But the green one, I like putting in my tequila. And then mezcal here is quite amazing as well. I'm not really. I like wine also. Yeah, Ben, we looked at WTI, and WTI is definitely coming out of this head and shoulders pattern that we were watching. Sika broke the neckline, coming up right now, testing this area of resistance, which obviously, if it clears through, it'll then be on its way to closing this gap, which could happen pretty soon. And then maybe coming into some pretty strong resistance around 45. Matcha is the best. I completely agree. Matcha is the best. Could I? Yeah. Could we listen? I get into this in my course. This is something I work on with my students. And if you are interested in working with me with that, then join the course. It's an extraordinary small investment for the value that it provides. Ooh, I like that a lot. Reza, that's a good tip. Yeah, Peter, we're gonna. I mean, only for members of Conquering the Markets, we're gonna be doing once a week now a live stream that will go slower, and they'll be able to ask questions on entries or position sizing or managing a trades or anything at all. Those private live streams will start next week. Those are just for those who are part of the training program. I don't know, John, if they will or what. Right? Which is going to catch up, right? Are we going to see the economy catch up to the markets, or are we going to see the markets catch up to the state of the economy? I don't know, right? Right now, we're seeing positive signs. We're seeing positive signs. And I don't know. When the narrative changes, John, we'll be there to see it happening. If we start seeing some solvencies, if we start seeing people getting worried about, about anything that's going to cause downside pressure, then we'll get involved. But until then, let's just focus on what is happening, and always manage our risk, being looking for what could go wrong. What could go wrong? Maybe I'm not. I just follow the charts. Listen, the markets are so complicated. I don't trade off of seasonals or times of the month or times of the year. I'm following the charts. By following the charts and trading what's happening, more often than not, it puts me on the right side of a trade. And the ones that are wrong, anytime I enter a trade, the first thing I'm looking at is where I could possibly go wrong and where I'm getting at. I expect every trade I enter is going to get stopped loss. That's a huge asset. It's a huge benefit. It puts me the same thing, right? If I'm going to run 20 miles, I'll pretend I'm just getting started for the first 15. I'll do that mentally. I'll pretend to myself I'm just getting started for the first 15, and that way the last 5 is no big deal. So it's the same thing with trading. Have the mindset that every trade you get into is going to be a loss. Know where your stop is, and then you'll see that you actually start picking a lot better trades. Darren, I'll be sending out an email. I'll be posting that in the Telegram group. Darren, are you in the Telegram group? I'll be posting it there first, and yeah, absolutely. I'll also send out an email as well. The first one's gonna be on Tuesday. The first one's gonna be at Tuesday, and it's gonna be at probably 10:15 Eastern time. But I'll send out details for sure. All right, everyone. I wish you a beautiful weekend. Thanks, Mart. I do appreciate that. Thanks for spending some extra time with me today. I definitely enjoy that, and grateful for it. Do you use a reverse head and shoulders at the top or the bottom of a trend? A reverse head and shoulder. So, by the way, where are we seeing reverse head and shoulders? We're seeing one play out on the DXY. And we're also seeing one play out on WTI. They're just when they develop. It doesn't have to be the top or the bottom. It could be an extension here of the trend upwards. Obviously, if you're in an uptrend since the lows when we went negative, right? And now over here, this is a continuation pattern, and it's playing out nice. But thank you so much for being with us here today, David. Spending the time for all you give. I know that I am personally grateful for it. I just want to say thank you. And to everyone, have a really, really good weekend. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And what else? That's it. Stay safe. God love you. I'll talk to you later. Roman, you nailed it over here. This is us. Surfing, tacos, and cats on the prey, predators. I'm gonna get some emojis, custom emojis made up of these 3 things over here, and of the DAP. I think we still gotta keep the DAP. Stefan, thank you too. Happy Father's Day. Thank you so much.